It's October 6, 2013. Dallas, Texas is abuzz as their beloved Cowboys gear up to take on the Rocky Mountain Express in the Denver Broncos. Tony Romo is off to a roaring start. 8 touchdowns to only 1 lonely interception is the start that an optimist wouldn't dare dream of after a 19-pick season in 2012. A year that saw the Cowboys play more mediocre football. Behind him is DeMarco Murray, who is in the beginning third of his first of 3,000-yard seasons. He's coming off of a foot injury the year prior, which held him out of 6 games in 2012. His offensive line is a force to be reckoned with. Rookie Travis Frederick slotted into center to join an incredibly young left side of the line with a second-year Ronald Leary and third-year Tyron Smith. To his right, a guy playing in one of his final games at right guard in Brian Waters, who was released from the Patriots in April to rejoin the Cowboys, with franchise right tackle Doug Free rounding us out. They also had a 4-headed receiving monster, with names like Dez Bryant, Terrence Williams, Jason Witten, and Cole Beasley leading the team in receiving, combining for over 3,000 yards between just the 4 of them. Defensively, everyone knows DeMarcus Ware. Helping him anchor things down included names like Sean Lee, some of the Cowboys faithful adored for years, Orlando Scandrick, Brendan Carr, Morris Claiborne, and J.J. Wilcox. For the Broncos, they were cooking with gas. Peyton Manning had yet to throw an interception in the 2013 season. After being heartbroken in double overtime against the Ravens in 2012's divisional round, Manning's first year in orange and blue, he threw for 7 touchdowns against the Ravens in Week 1 as a bit of a consolation award. Through the first 4 games, he'd thrown 16 touchdowns to not a single interception. Dynamite is the word you should use to describe the receiving corps. Better yet, WMDs might mark a better description. Demaryius Thomas was at the height of his powers. Julius Thomas was having the best season of his career by a mile. Eric Decker was in the midst of the best stretch of his own career, while Wes Welker was far and away the best slot receiver in the National Football League. The O-line was great too. Names like Zane Beadles, Orlando Franklin, and Louis Vasquez populated the line, while Noshawn Moreno was having his time in the limelight, while the young Ronnie Hillman waited in the wings. Coming into this game, the Broncos defense was defanged. Champ Bailey was dealing with an injury, Von Miller was suspended just days earlier for violating the substance abuse policy and trying to cheat a drug test, leaving the Broncos without their 2 big names. A young Derek Wolfe led the defensive line with Robert Ayers and pot roast Terrence Knighton. In the secondary, a young Chris Harris Jr. would start for Bailey, while the veteran DRC, or Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, started opposite. Kayvon Webster would get some snaps in this game as well. Neither defense was that good, both offenses were absolutely loaded, and they were about to put on a fireworks show for the country in the CBS 225 slot. Or, you know, the 4:30 slot for those on the East Coast. Right! There's a game to be played now that I've laid out all of the context. Broncos on a tear after being heartbroken in the playoffs the year before. Cowboys at 500 after ending the year, well, 500 as well in 2012. Raiders kickoff is away. Let us begin the recap of the greatest game of the 2010 decade, Broncos versus Cowboys. The Cowboys offense is locked in from the jump, and they are going to do everything they can to keep this Broncos offense at bay, even if it means not letting them on the field. A short DeMarco Murray run is followed by this gorgeous catch and run that has Dallas going from their own 21 to the 50 in just a couple of plays. Already down their 2 biggest stars, the Broncos defense is quickly on their heels. Jason Witten reminds the Broncos that they have never been able to cover decent receiving tight ends via this 27-yard strike down the middle. The Broncos finally stand up for one play by forcing a tackle for loss on Murray, but then they remember the tackling is overrated anyways, and the Cowboys are the first team on the board as Dez Bryant puts the most hated defensive back in Broncos history, until Levi Wallace, on a poster a few plays later. 7-0 Cowboys. Now it's the Sheriff's turn. Dallas is well aware that Manning is on a historic pace as the season begins to stretch through October, and on their very first play of the game, Manning hits Broncos legend Demaryius Thomas on a crossing route for a massive gain. Unfortunately, it's called back. 1st and 20. Wes Welker barely doesn't fumble on the ensuing play before Eric Decker actually puts the ball on the deck, just 2 plays and a review after oh my fucking god, bro. Can I read? Wes Welker barely doesn't fumble on the ensuing play before Eric Decker actually puts the ball on the deck, just 2 plays and a review later after a 16-yard Moreno carry to get them as close as they were. Drats. Starting the ensuing drive at Denver's 45, Tony Romo tries to be the man he glazes every Sunday from the booth by shoveling a ball after running around a bunch. The following play, he manages to pull the escape artist card again and fires a frozen rope that's dropped by Harris. Shit. Surely he's not gonna pull this bullshit 3 times in one drive, is he? Fuck, I knew the 2013 Broncos defense was awful, but to let Tony goddamn Romo run circles around you like it's the Daytona 500, that is downright awful. So Romo pulls an Elway-esque escape and fires that dart to Jason Witten, who else, before finding him again on 3rd and 8 to put the Cowboys inside of Denver's 10-yard line. Yup, they score again. DeMarco Murray gets his on this drive, and it is quickly 14-0 Cowboys. So the Broncos have run 3 plays so far in this game, and because of their defense that has more holes than an airless basketball, now the offense has to figure out how to claw back into this football game, and the Rocky Mountain Express quickly gets back on a roll with a 20-yard catch and run from Julius Thomas before Eric Decker redeems himself for his earlier transgression, burning his corner and putting the Broncos inside of the Cowboy 5. This took 2 plays, by the way. To cap the 3-play, 80-yard drive, Manning flicks the ball to Julius and lets him do the rest. Easiest 17th touchdown in number 18's career to get the Broncos on the board, 14-7. Dallas regains possession, and Dez Bryant instantly makes a mockery of the Broncos secondary with a catch down to the 39. Seriously, there is nobody within 5 yards of this man. What are we doing over there? Romo continues to slice up the Broncos secondary with this gorgeous ball to Escobar over the middle, proving once more that covering tight ends is something that the Broncos don't do, but the defense gets a smidgen of revenge as Robert Ayers sacks Romo on the following play. Unfortunately, Wesley Woodyard is shaken up at the same play, and the Broncos will be without their starting linebacker. Fortunately for the Cowboys, the Broncos have no answer early on for the escapability of Romo, nor for the crossbody throws to a consistently wide open Jason Witten. 2nd and 16 is quickly wiped away like cheap marker on a whiteboard to bring the first to an end, momentum fully favoring Dallas. Murray keeps the foot on the pedal by driving the Cowboys down to the Denver 2 in 2 plays, eating up 23 yards of field position, though his efforts are slightly nullified after a false start. Romo tries to string a ball between Moore and Iannacco on 1st and goal to no avail in Dez's direction, and the Broncos manage to cover Jason Witten on the following 2nd and goal. Why Murray didn't get a carry on either 1st nor 2nd down, only Jason Garrett knows. That goes to say that when Dallas tries to pass again on 3rd down, the Broncos secondary finally manages once to do their job. And despite having enough time to set up a campsite in the pocket, Romo is sacked by Sean Phillips back to the 25-yard line. You really think Murray wouldn't have punched the ball in from the 7? They went out of the gun on all 3 tries. The Cowboys notch a compensatory field goal to make it 17-7, but after a huge stand inside of their own 10, the Broncos have got to be feeling pretty goddamn good about themselves right now. The Broncos open their next possession with a nondescript 7-yard run by Noshan Moreno, which is then turned into 22 yards by a late hit penalty. We are so fucking back. They reach the Cowboys side of the field on a 3rd and 6 hanger from Manning right back to Moreno, who's making up for nearly fumbling away into their Broncos possession on the play right before. Ronnie Hillman decides to make an appearance, and what does he do? Rip a casual 17-yard run to put the Broncos down to Dallas's 2-yard line, that's what. Number 18 throws touchdown number 18 to Eric Decker on this gorgeous back shoulder ball, and what an adjustment from Decker to close the lead to 3 with just over 9 minutes until we go to the half. Oh my god, it's Broncos Weiler!
He's pulling his cock up!
Okay, Cowboys. You have been punched right back in the mouth after leaping out to a 14-0 and then a 17-7 lead. You cannot give the Broncos the ball back. That offense has been whooping your ass the last couple of drives, all right? And they are red fucking hot. You need to do, anything. Anything but that, Dallas Cowboys. After confirmation, the Broncos do, in fact, have the football. Dallas fans, can you hear the boss music yet? Manning finds a wide open Julius Thomas on 3rd down to keep the drive alive with a chance to take the lead, but the Cowboys come back with a sack on 2nd. Ooh, wait, he snapped Peyton's neck. Yeah, NFL rules don't allow for murdering NFL quarterbacks anymore, buddy guy. Broncos now have the ball at the Cowboy 8-yard line. Sean Lee makes a great play on Hillman on 1st and goal, but the Rocky Mountain Express is supposed to be in station by 5:25 left in the 2nd quarter, and I don't think they plan on falling behind schedule. The Broncos have stampeded back to take a 4-point lead, 21-17. The Cowboys have to be spinning now. They've watched their lead completely evaporate in just a few short minutes, but if anyone can utter a response, it's Tony Romo. Just kidding. He takes a sack on second down, and his bones can't carry him to the sticks on the ensuing 3rd and 15. Ladies, gents, and all on the peripheries, I present to you the first punt of our affair on this fair October afternoon. Pat McAfee victim Trindon Holiday wiggles a few yards to set the Broncos up at their own 36, but Noshawn wants to be a little closer to midfield, and he jaunts down to the midfield stripe with 3:06 on the clock. A pass interference call on Sean Lee moves the Broncos another 21 yards down the field, but the Cowboys aren't done shooting themselves in the foot because a neutral zone infraction 2 plays later moves Denver inside of the red zone. Noshawn dives down to the one with a $1.43, and on the 3rd and goal, I present to you one of my favorite plays in NFL history.
To Lyman. Peyton still has the football.
Perfect.
Manning runs it in for the touchdown.
It's like the reveal of a twist villain near the end of a good book, you know? Peyton Manning just bamboozled the official attendance crowd of 92,758, plus all 11 Dallas Cowboys on the field. With DeMarcus Ware on the field, you might as well make it 12. After a PAT, the Broncos suddenly have a 2-possession lead, and they get the ball coming out of halftime. This is blowout territory now. This is the way this offense is playing, blowout territory. I just whacked my TV, fuck. Now, with 40 seconds and no timeouts, you'd think the Cowboys would just take it to the locker room and regroup, but nope. Tony Romo pulls some black magic fuckery on the final real play of the half, and Dan Bailey nails his 2nd field goal to put this one back into 1-possession territory. We've got a fucking ball game on our hands, folks. Remember that one fleeting mention of Trindon Holiday? Yeah, he returns a kick from 8 yards deep in his own end zone to the 33. Big deal for 2013. DT gets his actual first catch of the game to open up the second half. Glad to see him getting involved again. And 2 Moreno runs set the Broncos up with a new set of downs. Hillman takes a 3-yard loss on the following first down, but thank God the Cowboys forgot Julius Thomas exists because he's suddenly loose and down to their 31-yard line. An illegal shift knocks the Broncos back to the 36, though, and a few plays later, DT has another Bronco first down. This feels like their slowest drive of the day so far. It's been all fireworks, but other than the big Julius Thomas catch, they've been working the clock on this possession. Well, more so than you can say for the rest of the game. Noshawn Moreno then decides to imitate a battering ram to get the Broncos down to the 10-yard line, and Wes Welker turns into goddamn James Bond to make a touchdown catch moments later. Another Broncos wideout gets their first catch of the game to start the second half, and the Broncos now rock a 15-point lead. For those not keeping score at home, it's now 35-20. Oh, and Welker has scored a touchdown in every single game to open 2013. Mom must have said it's Tony Romo's turn to throw a touchdown, though, because he unloads this 82-yard deep shot all over the Broncos defense. Terrence Williams breaks away from Tony Carter, and just like that, the Cowboys have started firing back. They close the gap to 8 with a Bailey PAT, and we are, in fact, back to where we left off. Now, a holding penalty on the opening play of a drive after you just gave up an 82-yard touchdown should absolutely cripple your momentum. But our Lord and Savior, Peyton Manning, leans in and whispers intimately into our ears, "Julius Thomas, same shot." A deep pass to Hillman gets the Broncos to the Dallas side of the 40, but Noshawn cannot escape the clutches of J.J. Wilcox on 3rd and 7. For the real first time today, the Broncos have stalled on offense. Tony Romo's body is ready. Crater knocks it through from 48 to give the Orange guys another 2-score lead, but much like the first half went, the tides are turning in the direction of the other team. What will the Cowboys do with their next possession? A Des Bryant catch and run on 2nd and 10 takes them from the 20 to the 47, and 2 plays later on 2nd down, they get Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie for a big PI on Des Bryant. The halves are beginning to mirror one another. Cole Beasley, that one guy that made a rap song one time, something about the number 80 and stinging. Anyways, he gets wide open on 3rd and 4 and gets the boys down to the Denver 2 before Romo literally mirrors Manning and Decker from earlier with a back shoulder throw to Des Bryant for a lead-cutting touchdown. If you came for defense, then Dallas, Texas is not the place for you to be today. The Broncos make one of a handful of good defensive plays on the 2-point try, and we're left with a 5-point ball game with 14 seconds left in the 3rd. Oh, you thought we were done mirroring the first half? Remember the start of the video where I mentioned that Peyton Manning hadn't thrown a pick all fucking year? Yeah, well, time to rescind that. Morris Claiborne said it was the Cowboys' turn to force a momentum-swinging turnover again. A Dez Bryant drop finally takes us into the fourth quarter with all of the momentum on Dallas' side for the first time since the early second quarter. The Broncos forget how to cover Witten again, who finally says hello after not being involved after the first quarter, and Romo rightfully rifles it back to reliable number 82 to get them down to the Bronco 10. Damn it, maybe they should stop this guy, because 2 plays later, he's sliding for a catch at the goal line to give Dallas the goddamn lead. Worse, the Broncos defense is out of Madden 09 rewinds, and the Cowboys just tacked an extra 2 on the board to make it a 3-point ball game. Moreno accounts for the next good chunk of yards of Bronco offense with a 7-yard catch and a 3-yard run to get to the sticks, and will make it 20 after he bails Manning out of a shitty throw on 3rd and 10 just a few plays later. Welker remembers he's the best slot receiver in the game of football in 2013 and takes the Broncos into plus territory with this 14-yard catch worthy of a stunt double. Unfortunately, Welker does his own stunts. Dallas does another naughty zone infraction, and I can feel Sean Payton cream his pants as a bubble screen actually gets a first down. Nice. Despite that, the drive again stalls. But when you have Matt Prater, 50 yards might as well be a PAT. We are all tied up with under 10 to go. A wicked Harris kick return gets called back, which is sad. This was cool. Come on, ref, let it slide. I'll pay you money. What do you mean this only ever works for Tom Brady? Anyways, Dez Bryant gets loose in the Denver secondary, but another big Cowboys play is wiped from existence by yet another holding penalty. And if you're at home thinking that there's no way the Cowboys make anything out of this drive, well, you're obviously not versed in batshit insane. Dez Bryant makes getting loose in the secondary look real cute because the Denver secondary is absolutely lost without a map on 3rd and 6, taking the Cowboys inside of the Bronco 5. I have no idea how Omar Bolden closes the distance to save a touchdown. In other news, Tony Romo has now thrown for 500 yards. Cole Beasley scores on the next play to make it 48-41 Cowboys with 7:19 to go. Now it's Peyton's turn again, and Noshawn continues to get touches as the Dallas rush can't get home. Hillman checks in after a short Moreno run to get a first down, and Manning zings a tight window throw to Welker just 2 plays after that. Let him cook. Cook, he does, with this sick jump ball to DT that puts Denver down inside of Dallas's 15, but a holding penalty on 2nd down makes tying the game a much harder task. Well, it would be harder if Welker didn't make gutsy catches like this one to get the Broncos inside of the 2, and it's Noshawn Moreno on the ensuing play to knot us up once again at 48 apiece. The following possession starts in disaster for Romo and the Cowboys as Sean Phillips gets away with a horse collar. It's uncalled, and it stands as a sack with 2:30 and ticking left on the clock. The tone of the game has been nothing but offense, but we have seen timely turnovers change the sway of the game. At the worst possible time, in the worst possible moment, we finally see Tony Romo at his absolute worst. He does the one thing you absolutely cannot do. Look away, Cowboys fans. Danny fucking Trevathan makes a diving interception to rip away the Cowboys' hopes in one fell swoop. DT earns some style points on the next F it DT there somewhere ball, leaping over a defensive back to snag this with grace to put the Broncos further into field goal range. Cowboy timeout. A Moreno run follows for hardly any gain. Cowboy timeout. Julius Thomas nearly gets the first down following this, and the Cowboys save a timeout as they tackle him out of bounds. On that 3rd and 1, desperation radiating off of the Dallas sideline, the Broncos get just enough, and the fate of Dallas is confirmed via stick. Cowboys are out of timeouts. Other than this DeMarcus Ware Superman dive to desperately try and achieve anything, the rest is a formality. The clock ticks down to 2 seconds. Prater trots onto the field. This game has been the greatest back and forth affair in ages. Manning and Romo, seeing who can outduel the other. Ultimately, it is Romo that blinks last. The ball is kicked. The Denver Broncos have won the best game of the 2010s decade.